And so it is. The Akashic records are now open. So the first messages that I was receiving relevant to this group before me is around releasing control, releasing the need to plan, to know what is coming next, to assure that you will be okay, that you will be provided for, so that you may relax, lean back, and open to the love and magic inherent within the mystery of life. Life is always providing for you, and life will always provide for you. As there's a way in which you can release this need to plan, to know what is coming next, to even have answers or insight around your future. And instead, trust and open to the miraculous unfolding of life, knowing that it is unfolding for you. It is always working in your favor. Trusting that through your evolution, through your growth, it's all getting better and better and better. Permission in this moment to put down, to release control, trusting that life's got it, spirit's got it. And that beautiful things, blessings, gifts are being orchestrated on your behalf by life. Life has your back because life is you. You are a sacred, precious, divine child of God. And God is always here. Supporting you, with you, orchestrating all of this on your behalf. The recognition of this helps you release resistance to what is. It helps you to put down the fight, the battle, the I don't think this is right, this shouldn't be happening. And as you release the resistance to what is, you restore your power, your energy to you. And your energy is redirected from fighting what is, which is draining, it is depleting, into being directed to creating the new, creating what it is that you want, creating what it is that you desire, knowing that you are bestowed with the gifts of God, of creation. You are a divine creator in your own right. And you are a divine creator of a caliber that is yet to be known, yet to be experienced, remembered by you. This energetic transmission is supporting you in restoring a sense of playfulness with life. Honoring that your life is in part your creation. And that it is an experience of so much possibility. There is so much available to you here and possible for you through you. And through the resisting of the circumstances of our lives, of certain limitations that we may perceive we have, we inadvertently strengthen those circumstances, strengthen those limitations. But there is another way. And it is in the reclaiming of your energy from any resistance, any fighting of any circumstance in your life, opening to trust it, receive it, accept and embrace it as it is, so that you may receive the gifts inherent within it, because everything exists to serve. So any circumstance, any relationship, anything that you're presently experiencing has a gift for you. It's here for a reason. And when we work with it, we are empowered to receive and integrate that gift. And then the thing, the circumstance, the relationship, whatever it was that we were resisting, has then served its purpose. And once what has arisen has served its purpose, something new can arise. Something new can be created in its place. But first, we have to work with it, welcoming the circumstances of our lives and trusting them, trusting that there are divine gifts being shared with us, opportunities to grow, to expand, to become more of ourselves. And that it is not life hurting or harming us. We are not victims. There's no real threat in the way that the human mind defines threat. There's no threat to our soul. It's only ever a threat to our ego, to our identity. Which presently is expanding and evolving as we become more of ourselves. As we embrace more of who it is we actually are, as we remember who we are, the full spectrum of light to dark and everything in between. All of it inherently lovable, inherently worthy, inherently valuable. It all serves its purpose. Let yourself relax into the receiving of the energy, and trusting the way in which it is here to serve you. Hmm. And simply receiving in this moment and allowing your consciousness to rise. Allow these energies to find their supportive place in your being, grounding the energy by rooting your consciousness into your body. You're welcoming the energy into your body, into your lived human experience. Merging this higher consciousness with your physical form. And bringing the two together in this moment as you feel your body, feel your breath, feel your feet. And feel your consciousness inhabiting your body. Feel your body permeated by, enveloped in this beautiful energy. And allowing this energy and the insight that is shared here today to be integrated into your everyday human life, to be lived, for this wisdom to live in your body, to express itself day to day. And all that you are and all that you choose to be. Mm. Mm. And you're welcome to remain with your eyes closed for as long as you'd like. And if you're feeling called to share, contribute a question, I would love to receive them at this time. You can do so in the chat box or through the Zoom raise your hand option. Jody. Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
Nice to meet you in person.
Yeah, it's so nice to meet you.
I really felt that when you were like invited in. I got it right in my heart. Thank you.
Wow, yes. Love that
Yeah,
you were so receptive.
super strong. Yeah,
Mm.
it took me, it was a little overwhelming for sure. Wow. Hey, my question is, I have this Alba energy that my guides keep talking to me about, and I've kind of, with your help, I've kind of identified it with the feminine divine, and I'm just wondering how can I be listening to this to help me with my creativity more in my life?
Mm. Ask and you shall receive. So you can create a sacred time and space for a practice of cultivating your connection to this energy. And then make an explicit request. I would love the support here for my creative endeavors or for whatever it is that you would love support with. And as you do that, honor the power of your consciousness to create, to direct, and to guide, knowing that when we channel these separate beings, these ethereal beings, these energies, Although we may experience them as separate, and in many ways they are separate from the perspective that we have presently, they are separate. From another perspective, they're actually aspects of us.
Mm-hmm.
So we can work with them, create a relationship with them
Mm-hmm.
where they support us and our becoming.
All right.
Yeah. So I see it as the way in which I do my Akashic practice. I just create the sacred space, maybe light a candle. It's an undisturbed place where I can be present and receptive. And then I say a prayer to open the connection, and then I receive. And it can be not only receiving insight and energy, but also a conversation. Just ask and you shall receive. Ask for what you want.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your question, Jody. And thanks for being here. Hmm. What else would you like to explore? So while I wait for your questions, I'm going to speak to the messages that are coming through that feel relevant to you, to the group before me. And the first one that I saw was around embracing the duality of life, embracing it, coming to terms with it, and having peace around it. Embracing our duality, the way in which we are all the full spectrum of light and dark, as is every being. And with happiness comes sadness. And with love comes fear. And with comfort comes discomfort. With, wow, I'm feeling so inspired and liberated and loving life comes, oh, I'm feeling so stuck and stagnant and contracted. And while we are in these human bodies, we will not transcend the dual nature of this experience. With the resistance of the other side of what we don't prefer to experience, like when we're sad, when we're down, when we're feeling angry, when there's contraction, when we're exploring what may be referred to as dark or the negative, when we're in that and experiencing that, there can be a creation of resistance to it, which places us in a position of fighting it. But really, everything exists to serve us, even that. And the message that I was receiving was we need to learn how to stop fighting it and instead open our arms to embrace it. And it was like an image of making love to it, owning it, releasing any shame of it. This shouldn't be here, judgment of it, this is wrong. And instead recognizing it as an aspect of ourselves. And as we do that within our own being and within our own lives, we become equipped to do that for others. And this is tremendously healing to human relationships. Because every person that we love and open our hearts to is going to be that full spectrum being. They're going to have so much that we love about them that feels so beautiful and so light and so bright. And they're going to have their natural human flaws and limitations. And oftentimes, the very thing that we may love about someone can have another side to it. And that becomes the thing that we hate. The embracing of the duality liberates so much energy for us, which we can then use to move forward in our lives and create. As we start experiencing and attuning to these higher frequencies, these states of love and of bliss and of joy, what the ego can do is begin to judge or label as bad, inferior, wrong, any state that is not that. This can be projected onto, for example, a relationship where we may be in such an expansive state of love. I love you so much. And then we can come into like resentment, anger, hate, frustration. And then we can think that there's something wrong. Something wrong has happened. Something bad, wrong has been done, when really it's a part of the human experience. Human love encompasses all of it, all of it. And we can do this to ourselves when we're having days where we're sad or we feel bad. And then we compound that bad feeling by judging the feeling as actually bad, as this shouldn't be happening. And then we can start a fight with the feeling, with the state that we're in, with the circumstance. And all of our energy goes towards that fight, instead of the receiving of the nourishment of whatever is naturally arising. Because even sadness, even anger, frustration, all the things that we don't want to feel come bearing gifts. And we cannot receive those gifts when we are fighting them, when we're judging them. So, invitation to make peace with these darker, negative aspects of life. While we make peace with them, accept and embrace them, we also come into discernment around from what place we want to behave from. So sometimes our emotional states, like our sadness, our anger, our can suggest to us, oh, behave in this way. Speak to this person like this. Perceive yourself in this light. Have these thoughts about yourself like, oh, you can't do anything right. Life sucks. These states will make these suggestions. Embracing them and accepting these states and this duality doesn't necessarily mean that we feed what these states suggest. We have multiple aspects within us at all times. And we embrace all of them. We work with all of them, but we get to choose what aspect we behave from. So in that moment of like sadness and angst and like, ugh, that sadness may say, go do this, but it's suggesting that you do something that actually feeds that emotion, feeds that state. There's the opportunity instead to access another aspect of us and behave from that place. It's like, wow, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling angst, I'm feeling, ugh. And there's a part of me that wants to go, do this destructive thing or engage in this addiction. For me, it used to be binge eating. but I'm going to access another aspect of me which coexists in this now moment, who shows up in supportive ways for me. And that aspect of me is suggesting that I take a walk in this moment, that I go swim in the ocean. So we can honor and embrace what we're feeling. And what we're feeling might be like, don't go swim in the ocean. That's not going to help. Don't go, do this thing or show up in this way. You're not capable right now. Like maybe thoughts can arise of not being good enough or of hopelessness, helplessness. All these things can come up, yet we can still choose to behave and show up for what it is that we consciously desire, what it is that we want to feed. But we don't get to show up for that only when we're feeling good, only when it feels easy and natural and aligned. We bring these other aspects with us. So we bring the sadness, the I'm afraid I'm not good enough, whatever your thing is that comes up for you, we bring that with us to head in the direction that we want to head in. A personal example for me to help make this more clear is in the sharing of my gifts, in the sharing of my voice, there's always an aspect of me that's thinking, what if I'm not good enough? There's an aspect of me that doesn't have the confidence to do this, to share with you in this way. There's an aspect of me that is afraid that I'll say something that isn't true or who knows what. All these different parts of me that have fear. I will still move forward in the direction of sharing as I am right now, but I'll move forward with that fear, with that part of me that is not good enough, embracing it, accepting it, and not needing to eradicate it before I move forward. We bring all parts of us with us, yet we get to relate to those parts. And sometimes what can happen is when we're resisting a part of us, when we're suppressing and repressing it, it can lash out. It can come out in ways where, in a sense, it takes over. So we've got to have a healthy relationship to all parts of us. Something else that can happen when we really repress these darker aspects of us is we then project it onto the outside world. When we desire to show up as so pure, as so spiritually perfect, nice, sweet, that's not the truth of who we are. We're everything. And we've got to own that everything that is us so that we don't continue to project it onto the world outside. This can be a dangerous game to play, this game of projection where we reject the darkness within us and project it externally, because then we get into blaming. Then we get into finger pointing, believing that the problems of our lives, the problems of the world, are someone else's responsibility. And then all of our creative energy goes towards the blame, towards the finger pointing, and that changes nothing. It just creates more of a fight. The only place that we have power is from within ourselves. Blame accomplishes nothing. Whether we're blaming our world leaders, humanity in general, or our partner. Blame perpetuates more of the same. Meanwhile, owning the darkness within us, being willing to look at our own limitations and our own role in creating whatever it is that we're experiencing, is what actually creates change. Yet this rejection of duality has us not want to look within, because sometimes taking responsibility for something can have us acknowledge our own limitations. And if we have shame around the dual nature of life, if we haven't accepted it, then we're not going to want to see that about ourselves, because we're not going to want to bring up shame. Yet when we come into the acceptance and embracing of all, we can see where our own internal limitations are, and then the blame game no longer appeals to us. It becomes a game of personal responsibility and self-empowerment. And this way of living brings so much more peace and trust to our being, because then we are not these victims at the whim of everyone around us and all of life. We become these empowered co-creators to direct and guide our own lives. And there's something so liberating about that. It helps us feel so much safer here in our bodies, here in this experience. So I'm looking at the chat. I feel like everything has shut down in recent weeks. My connection, intuition, third eye, I'm not able to listen or receive anything from my guides. It's like it's been lost and I can't get it back. Tips as to how to get it back. Why am I unconsciously blocking it? There are seasons to life. And just because we prefer summer, because summer feels good, because summer's where we like to be, doesn't mean that winter won't come. And it doesn't mean that winter doesn't have its value to it. In my personal experience, I've had times where my intuition has felt blocked, essentially everything shared in this question. And those times have been some of the most transformative times. The way that I've seen it when I communicate with my guides is almost like there was so much construction work being done on my connection. Like if you imagine like all these little construction workers, it was like the road is out of commission right now. The road is out of commission. We've got all these construction workers working on it. They're developing it. I'm like freaking out, like, oh my gosh, I don't feel connected to my intuition. I don't feel connected to the Akashic records, what's happening. And then when the divine time is to emerge out of that and I begin to feel reconnected, the connection is stronger than ever. That has been my personal experience with that. And I also know that everything is cyclical. Like we have times of feeling so expansive and times of feeling so contracted, and one cannot exist without the other. So at this point, I've learned to more expect those states and work with them. I can feel like I can't receive from my guides, but I can still make requests. I can feel like I'm not hearing anything, I'm not feeling anything, but you know what? I'm going to lie in bed, create a little healing nest for myself, and I'm just going to ask them to work on me. And it's okay if it doesn't feel the way that I expect or the way that I want or the way that it felt a few months ago. I'm surrendering to the trust of what is. Knowing that the mind can come to all these conclusions, can have all these judgments, and there's an aspect of them that is always inaccurate. The danger with these conclusions and these judgments is that we can begin to live into them, because in this experience of life, we project our beliefs onto life, which then has us experience, we have the lived experience of those beliefs through the conclusions that we come to, our thoughts, our behaviors, all that we're holding in our minds and in our emotional body and in our energetic body, we radiate outwards, and it's informing how other people treat us, and it's informing how life forms itself around us. So the more that we can trust whatever it is that is occurring, the more clear we are to experience possibility versus coming to conclusions. Like one common conclusion is there's something wrong with me. And then we begin to live into there's something wrong with me. And then, look, proof, there's something wrong with me. When we're in trust, we remain more empty. And when we remain more empty, we're living more from that Akashic space where anything is possible. But that requires so much trust. It truly is blind faith. This makes no sense to me. I don't like this. I don't want this, but like, God, I know you've got me. Blind faith, I'm remaining empty. I'm not creating any limiting beliefs about life or about myself. I'm remaining open, expansive, connected to truth, which is possibility, which is love. I am trusting you. I'm handing over my control, my ego's preferences, all of my conclusions and judgments of myself, of life, of what is occurring, handing it over to you so that I may remain clear and open to possibility. So I would say, like, the part of this question, tips as to how to get it back. My personal recommendation would be to come into the full acceptance of the experience. Because sometimes when we try too hard for something, we can inadvertently create a resistance to it. And the thing about our intuition is that it's not really something that we can try for. It doesn't emanate from our willpower. It truly is a surrendering, a receiving. When I channel, as soon as I mistrust and I start reaching for something or trying to come up with something, it distorts the whole flow. I really just need to lie back, open, trust, and know that something is coming through. And that whatever is meant to come through will come through. So it's not about, trying to get it back. It's opening to what is so that it can come back in its own time. Why am I unconsciously blocking it? I'm going to tune into that part of the question. Humanity has a way of orienting itself to things that have us believe that there's something wrong with us, like we're doing something wrong. But there's another way in which we can start to perceive and interpret the circumstances of our lives, which is that we're doing something right, that we're one with divine intelligence and brilliance, that we can never stray from that oneness. We just are the divine intelligence and brilliance of life. So whatever it is that we are doing must be divinely intelligent and brilliant. And if we're blocking our intuition, maybe there's a reason. Maybe, like what I shared earlier, it is under construction. Maybe it's because we're meant to be more in the human experience at this time and it's serving us in some way. So that redirection of our interpretation is what helps us to continue to move and flow with what is, instead of get stuck in the one thing that we're judging and resisting. It's a beautiful question. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it was me, Daniela. Thank you so much. We met with David Lyon and Isaiah some time ago. I think it was 2020. Then I did a session with you, and I've been following you and everything. Just to follow up, if I may, from my question, all my autoimmune came back. So it's like I'm paralyzed. And that's blocking everything else, even though I completely surrendered. I'm not trying to connect. I'm just absolutely surrendered to the autoimmune that came back, to the chronic pain, and that I'm not connected, all of that. And I'm just paralyzed.
Wow.
And I'm not sure how to get out of this, because it's been so long that I kept it at bay.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay. Thank you for your question, Astrid. Hmm. Okay. Okay, I'm going to take a moment to drop into this question. I don't have the answers and I don't have a solution. I do have personal insight around the navigating the experience of autoimmune disease and the flare up of symptoms. Hold on, I'm going to feel even more deeply into this. One thing that can be supportive is the reclamation of our power from the power that we give our symptoms. Instead of giving our power to the symptoms, believing, oh, this symptom is taking over me, it's hurting me, it's bad, it shouldn't be happening. It's about rooting our power in the serving of the symptom. So it's the symptom doesn't have power, the disease doesn't have power. Like the disease doesn't have power over me, the symptom doesn't have power over me. I have the power to serve the symptom, to serve the disease, to serve my body. And from that place, listening to the symptoms that are arising and asking, how may I serve you? Our body has a miraculous capacity to heal. And our body's symptoms and manifestation of disease is always guiding us towards our healing, but not the healing of our physical body, the healing of our soul. Sometimes we can place a lot of emphasis on the physical body because we believe it's who we are. Yet who we are is the soul. And ultimately, the body is serving the soul, and the body is serving the evolution, the growth, the liberation of the soul. Restoring our trust in the body, knowing that it is behaving according to divine intelligence, and releasing any stories that we may have had around the body. I had an experience with autoimmune disease myself, and there was very much the projection of, oh, your body has failed you. Your body has gone awry. It has gone awry. It's attacking itself. And that perspective is not inherently true, and the perpetuation of that belief does not serve the healing of the body. What better serves the healing is this approach of how may I serve you? How may I love you today? Whether it's with my thoughts, with my energy, my consciousness, what I eat, what I choose to do, everything that I consume. What does the body want to explore? Sometimes unprocessed, repressed traumas can manifest as disease. And they're actually invitations that guide us into the reclaiming of our power from these traumas. The reconciling of these traumas, because anything that's not reconciled, it has some of our power and it's distorting our perspective. It's limiting what is possible for our soul to be and create and experience. Our body is always guiding us towards reconciliation, towards healing. And the more that we can interpret our symptoms as, oh, this is healing me, the more that we can receive the healing that is occurring, knowing, trusting that it's not just about the body. We can get so attached to the body. It's about the growth and evolution of the soul. So when we're experiencing disease, it can be supportive to focus on what is being served, what is benefiting the soul. But if we're so caught up in the injury, the hurt, the pain of the body, then our energy can go towards fighting and resisting that, as opposed to truly showing up in service to our healing. These moments of pain where things feel so out of our control, where we don't know why something is happening to us, can be invitations into complete and total surrender at new levels, and trust in life, trust in spirit. It was healing for me when I shifted from resisting my symptoms and getting angry about my symptoms and everything that I was feeling frustrated by it, like I shouldn't be feeling like this, I wish I could do more, I wish I could be more, to letting my symptoms guide my days and guide my life, whether it was laying in bed all day, watching a movie. Yeah, that actually helped me feel a lot of peace and joy, even though I was really sick. And ultimately, I feel like there are so many different layers to healing that I could never speak to the one thing that helped me heal autoimmune disease. Like the one thing, there's so much. It was from diet to consciousness to my own Akashic practice to receiving support from other people to prayers from just it being divine orchestration. There's such a mystery inherent within all of it. We could never fully comprehend or grasp like the full why of something and the full how of something. It's so beyond our comprehension, yet we can trust, which makes our life so much more enjoyable. And that space of being in enjoyment, of being in trust, of being in peace, that state of emotional being, that state of consciousness is what allows our immune system to work. Because we know that we're in that fight or flight mode when we're in resistance to something, when we're judging it as bad, when we're just like, I don't want to feel this way. There's an element of like an activated nervous system. And then our energy is going towards that instead of our healing. Our immune system is activated and strongest when we are in a place of total peace and total trust. And humanity has been conditioned to label pain as bad. Humanity has also been conditioned to believe that we cannot handle pain. Yet this is not the inherent truth. Pain is actually a portal to our power. It reveals to us how strong we are, how resilient we are, and how it is us who gets to direct and guide where our consciousness goes. It doesn't need to go into suffering just because we are in pain. That's how powerful we are. And I feel like disease is a really potent way to rewrite and to liberate ourselves from a lot of the limiting beliefs that are so prevalent within humanity at this time. So I don't have the answers. I don't have a solution. And I so trust in life's love for you amidst whatever you may be experiencing. And I trust that it is occurring to serve your soul in some way.
Thank you. It helped me so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Astrid.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next question I have here. Hi, Daniela. Can you tell what is my mission and what do I need to heal clear to be able to embrace my gifts and mission? Have been on a healing journey for a long time and now not sure how to proceed. Many thanks and blessings. Humanity has placed a lot of unwarranted emphasis and value on our work, on our mission, on the one thing that we do that makes us worthy of having a home and having a car and having food, worthy of having an income, which provides all those things. Yet it is a belief system, it is a distortion that actually limits us and has us accept and value ourselves based on how we are showing up for our work or our mission, judging our work, our mission as this one thing. Yet our work, our mission, our gifts are inherent in all that we do and all that we are. It is just as valuable for me to show up in front of all of you and share my voice, my gifts. That is one expression of my gifts, which is just as valuable as when I was in bed for a very long time healing autoimmune disease. When we're in these states of healing, we are working on the collective human consciousness, because anything that we heal within ourselves, we're healing on behalf of our ancestors. We're healing on behalf of everybody connected to us. And ultimately, everyone is connected to us because we're all part of the one collective human mind. So right now, I'm speaking in front of you, and someone may judge that as like, oh yeah, she's sharing her gifts, right? Because she's talking to people and she's offering insight that contributes to people's healing. Yet when I was lying in my bed with autoimmune disease, feeling awful and moving through my own internal healing, that was equally as valuable. But it would not be judged as me sharing my gifts. It's like, oh no, she has autoimmune disease. She's laying in bed. She's suffering. She's not sharing her gifts. That's not true. I was just on mission then as I am now. I'm just on mission when I'm crying, bawling, like exploring the depths of my pain, as I am when I'm speaking in front of an audience, when I'm offering a one-on-one transmission to someone. It is all contributing to the healing of humanity, which I believe is our mission. And I think that all of our gifts are that. And it's all equally as valuable. So it can be supportive to reframe when we're in these internal healing places that we actually are on mission, and knowing that many of us have the desire to share in front of people, to share for one person or in front of an audience. That time, we can't rush that time, because there's something that, in my personal experience, I learned that I thought that I was ready to share with people, and I wanted to be ready to share with people. And I felt that my value was inherent, like dependent upon me sharing with people, and that my feeling good and on mission was dependent upon me sharing with people. Yet at that time, there was still more that I needed to work on within myself before I could really hold this space and hold another person and access this energy and this perspective in a way that truly served. There was more that needed to occur. I was still under development. I was still blooming. But my ego was like, no, you should be doing it now. I want to be doing it now. Yet that wasn't the reality. That wasn't the truth that was unfolding. So when we have these desires to share with an audience, to share with people, trust that those desires are guiding us towards that future, towards that timeline. That's where we are heading. That is our drishti. And everything we do is taking us there, but we don't have to experience that now. Because as soon as we say, like, I want it now, the way that I see it is, it's like, seeing a flower and yelling at it like bloom now, bloom now, bloom now. The flower blooms in its own time. So we need to honor the timing of life and honor our process and allow ourselves to feel all that we would feel if we were on mission now, because the truth is we are on mission now with whatever we're doing. Even if it's preparing ourselves to be on mission the way that we have defined on mission. From a more practical sense, I feel like it can be supportive when we're wanting to move from being on our own healing journey to embracing our gifts and our mission. I feel like that shift, moving into that can be catalyzed when we wake up every morning asking ourselves, how can I serve another? How can I serve life? How can I give my gifts in a way that benefits others? And for me personally, that started with just giving a lot of love to everybody that I came across, whether it was a cashier, someone I walked past in the street, radiating that love, offering a smile, serving in that way. And that can help build a momentum, which can help us show up in service in bigger and bigger and perhaps more formal ways. The shift, it starts now. Giving our gifts now and reading into what is the appropriate moment, what is the appropriate way to give our gifts. Sometimes the giving of our gifts is in the showing up in a certain way for someone else. Sometimes the giving of our gifts is actually showing up for ourselves, for an emotion that may be arising, for something that we are working with within us. It was really helpful for me to orient myself to what can I give and continuously come back to that. How may I serve now? How can I give my gifts now? What is my gift to give in this situation right now? Even if it's just me alone with myself, like giving a gift to my space by cleaning it. Giving a gift to life by just offering a prayer, like, I love you. That energy builds, and I feel that it can guide us towards, deeper embracing of our gifts and sharing of our mission. Thank you for your question. Thank you so much for holding this space. Yay, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. I just realized that in a state of inner peace and calmness, I truly have no questions. As soon as I focus on my mind, they start coming up. So here's my question. I'm new to channeling, and sometimes I have the feeling that I'm getting the same words or expressions for different people or situations. How can I discern if I am making them up? People resonate with them, but still, I doubt as they seem generic messages. The interesting about what we channel is that it's always being made up. If you really think about it, this whole experience of life was made up. Earth was made up. The whole, human species was made up. It was all made up. So there's nothing that exists that was not made up. So it's not about asking whether it was made up. It's more about discerning, feeling, where is this coming from? And we want our channeled messages to be coming from this place of deep and profound love. Love for others and this sincere desire to support them, to uplift them, to serve them, to offer something that is going to change and transform their lives. And when that intention is there and it's rooted, that is how the words will just come out. That's how we gain access to wisdom, through our sincere and integrated desire to serve, love, and uplift others through our wisdom. So if that intention, that foundation is set, then we can trust what comes through, even if it feels made up. Also, when we're channeling, we can feel the frequency of what it is that's coming through us. And we generally, when we're channeling, we want to be bringing forth and sharing things that have a frequency of like expansion. It feels expansive. It feels loving. It feels true to my heart. It's okay if I made it up, because say we're channeling another being, what we receive and then put into words is still coming through our mind to some degree or another. So it still may feel at times made up. It's more about, we want to focus more on the frequency of what's coming through us. I'm getting the same words or expressions for different people or situations. Oftentimes, okay, so when people are drawn to us, like the way that you were all drawn to this transmission here, it's incredibly synchronistic. It's always divinely orchestrated. It's not an accident. It's not a random coincidence. So if we have a message that we are able to transmit very well, we may draw in a lot of people that want to receive that one message. So as you write here, I'm getting the same words or expressions for different people or situations. That would make sense. If you have a potency around those words or those expressions, then it would make sense that the people that want to receive that one thing would come to you. And in general, I think with channeling, we just need to work with doubt. Like, we will never completely and totally eradicate doubt. We've all been conditioned to believe ever since we were children that, oh, it's just your imagination. It's just your imagination. You're imagining it. So of course, when we come into this practice of doing our best to receive divine guidance and insight and channel, there's always going to be a part of us that like doubts, like, I'm not really sure. And the reality is that everything is coming through our mind and is limited by our ego to some degree. So that doubt is actually healthy. It helps us remain true and rooted in what is the truth of our channel, and not expecting it to be like the pure voice, the pure message of God, because we don't have access to that while we are in these human minds, only because the pure message, the pure insight of God is everything. It is infinite possibility. It is the totality of all. It is the culmination of all perspectives. It is the knowing of infinity and eternity, which is entirely incomprehensible to the mind. So in channeling, there will always be doubt. And for any of you here who are listening and are interested in learning how to channel, my absolute favorite thing to do in life is to train people in opening to channel. And I have a course on it. And I love it. And I really hope to serve you through it. Yeah, so hi, Daniela. Thank you so much for holding this beautiful space. The duality download was what I've been asking for guidance around. Yay! I feel strong hybrid energy around myself from the Yahyel, and this is where I feel my guides are leading me. I'm working on my sense of self and trust. I come from a background of abuse and manipulation. I'd love any guidance. Yeah, thank you for your message, love. I'm working on my sense of self and trust. I feel like when we're working on our sense of self, it can be supportive to acknowledge that there isn't any one self, that the true self is incredibly expansive and fluid and constantly evolving. And yet, it can be supportive to set a context for the self that we wish to cultivate. So to give a personal example, I feel all sorts of things all the time. I'm a highly emotional being, and I have all sorts of times yet, and I acknowledge that I'm all of it. I'm all of it. I have so much love for people, and I get frustrated with people. I'm all of it. That's my sense of self. Yet the context is that I am choosing and desiring to show up in the most loving way that I can. That's my context. It's love. It is personal empowerment, and it is trust. So I know my true sense of self is all, yet I'm creating the context of this is the self that I want to cultivate, that I want to experience as this ego identity, Daniela. That helps me formulate a sense of self that in many ways is of my own cultivation and creation, but without any rejection of any other aspect of myself. Because if I was identified to me just being the sense, the self that is loving, then if, hate came up in me or rage, then I would immediately go into self-rejection, self-condemnation, self-blame. The truth of our sense of self is all. And when we embrace the all, then we can trust ourselves. And it's one and the same to trust ourselves and to trust life. If we want to trust life more, we can also start by trusting ourselves more. If we want to trust ourselves more, we can start with trusting life more, because they are one and the same. We are life. We are expressions of life, and life is us. Life is an expression of us. I hope that felt supportive to your question. Yeah, wow, I love it. That was awesome. Thank you so very much. Thank you for such an empowering transmission, as always, illuminating everything that's bubbling under the surface so eloquently, penetrating with your words of wisdom like powerful rays from the sun. Thank you so much, Daniela. You're such an amazing poet and such an incredible support, impacting many so profoundly, resonating deep within our hearts. So much love for you. Thank you, love. Oh, and thank you for your message as well. Okay, beautiful. I feel like this is a good place to conclude our transmission for today. Thank you so much for everything that came through. Thank you for all of you here who are present or listening to the replay, for co-creating the space with me. May all that was shared be integrated with ease and grace to serve your life and the lives of all connected to you. May this transmission serve to help open your heart to even greater love, anchor in even deeper trust, peace, and to remember your power and the possibility of this life. I love you. Thank you. This transmission is now complete. It's now complete, but it's never really complete.